Welcome to Winning Wednesday. I have a very special guest today, and her name is Coach Shaquan. I am honored to have her, being that is the last Wednesday of Women's History Month, and it is a pleasure to honor a woman and to thank her for her multi talents that she shared with the community. Nothing better than chatting with a woman that spends her gifts to help other women and men, I'm sure, feel better. So, welcome, Coach Jaquan, to Iris in the City. If I had an audience, this is what would happen. Woo! Yay! So, welcome and tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Yes, so thank you so much for having me. So, my name is Coach Shaquan, and I study how people communicate, connect, and show up in personal and professional relationships. And I am a certified relationship coach and an energy leadership expert. So, big words. What does all of that mean? So, as a certified
Yeah.
relationship coach, I teach people how to become more aware of their thought action pattern so that they can build healthy relationships with themselves, and then that will impact how they are in relationship with others. And so I like to just say this part as well. When we think about relationships, we say relationships are defined by three things: the way you communicate, the way you connect, and the way you show up. So when I say that I study those things, I study relationships and really help people to, again, be more aware of themselves in the relationship that they have with themselves first. So oftentimes people are like, oh, it's relationship. They only think intimate. It's like, no, how are you in relationship with yourself first will then directly impact how you are in relationship with others.
Now you all see why I invited her on this last Wednesday of the Women's History Month, because this woman is studying how we can first be better in relationship with ourselves so that we can in turn serve others. So tell us how or what are your social media handles? How can we follow you on social media? Let's just get that out there right now,
Yes.
because I want to make sure that everyone is following, so that when you post these programs and sessions that we all
Yes.
can get into the room with you.
I appreciate that. So I am on social media, so Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we're getting into YouTube. Everything is under Coach Shaquan. Everything is at Coach Shaquan.
For consistency. So that's a tip
Yes.
there. If you brand and making sure things are consistent.
Yeah, so people can
Coach
find
Quan
you.
is the teacher of that.
Yes.
Okay, so um, it's one program in particular that every time I see it, it's just like, I really want to take this course. I need to dive in it for myself. I was able to be on, I guess, a little Facebook room you did maybe last year on it.
Mhm.
But the name, and we're going into the second quarter, so everything is about empowering, bettering ourselves, along our journey. So
Mhm.
the one that I want to ask about first is called Check Your BS.
Mhm.
And just going into the second quarter, how do we check your IBS? Just give us a snippet. Don't give it all away,
Oh,
because we
don't
definitely
worry.
want people to, you know, log on and join this program, because the more of us that check our BS, the better we can be in our prospective lives. So, what is
Yes.
this about your BS?
Absolutely. So when I say check your BS, I say BS stands for belief system or whatever has you stuck in a pattern of thinking or way of doing that doesn't allow you to reach your goals or move forward or let go of something or someone. And so understanding that we all have belief systems, which are by definition, your belief system is defined as a group of habitual thoughts that you place your trust and confidence in, and then you use the feelings to determine what's good, bad, right, or wrong. And so our belief system was created from one of three sources: what you were taught, what you experience, or what you assume. And so the foundation of what I do in terms of checking your BS is really challenging people on what they think. Right, challenging the belief system that you've created. Challenge what you think, check what you believe, and then choose how you want to show up, in relationships, how you want to show up in life. And so going through that process of checking your BS, it's a whole framework, it's a whole formula. It's a trademark thing. So I know a lot of people find it very catchy. They think it's so cool. It is a trademarked formula, a full
So
process.
don't go after this live trying to do check your BS because it's trademark. I only mess with fabulous women that know how business work and they know what they have. So this is a brand thing. So
Yes, it
don't
absolutely
try
is.
to regurgitate
Yes.
this one.
And so here's the thing. I want people to use it because it is a method. You know, I use it for myself. I have to say, okay, Shaquan, check your BS. Like check your BS. What's the belief system? And then I go through the process. And I just mentioned some of that is going through and getting clear on where the belief came from. Was it something you were taught? Was it something you experienced, or was it something you assumed? And so once you identify that, then there's additional steps you go to. And so for people who often find themselves feeling stuck, right? Feeling that they can see what they want to do, where they want to be, who they want to be with, just all of that. Like you can see that, yet you can't figure out how to get there. Then more than likely you're stuck in your BS, right? Stuck in the belief system.
Okay. Okay. So if you're feeling stuck, you might want to check your BS. And I'm glad to know that stands for belief system because I'm walking around like, yes, we checking all, you know,
Yes, and most people
everybody know
think
what you
that,
think
right?
about,
Yes.
but that's
And that's
good belief system.
yes.
Okay, so on this podcast, a lot of viewers are working moms that also have some type of business. Um, yes, checkyourBS.com
Yes,
that
yes,
has some
yes.
type of business that they love, or I guess I don't want to call them hobbies because
Mhm.
we all know that our hobbies can turn into our profits, but they have small businesses and they have husbands and
Yeah.
church groups. What type of coaching or programs do you have for just that busy woman? It's nothing in particular going on. I just need to make sure I'm in tune and I'm in step
Yeah.
and I have something that's gonna, you know, check my BS along the
Yes.
way.
Yes, absolutely. So, the majority of my clients are women, and my clients are women who have reached a point in their life, whether it's career, whether it's motherhood, whether it's wifehood, just womanhood in general. And again, they desire more. They know that there is more. They can't figure out how to get there, right? And so if we're breaking this down, if we're thinking about really defining the woman first, so there's part of a program that when I used to work specifically with wives and only with wives, and what I recognize is that check your
Okay.
BS is a universal thing. When I was focused strictly on wives, it was helping to find the woman inside the wife, right? And so really defining who you are as a woman and understanding that there will always be a difference between who you were, who you are, and who you desire to be. And so the majority of my clients are in that stage of of shifting from who they were and becoming who they are, and they want to figure out how do I get to that next step. And so we go through the process of teaching them again about their thought action pattern. There's a formula that says thoughts create feelings, feelings create emotions, emotions create actions. So in essence, what you think becomes what you do. So if you are not aware of what you think and what triggered those thoughts, then you will continuously be in a pattern that keeps you stuck. So my women are professional, whatever that looks like. So we're not talking about like being in a corporate position. They are professional, they are forward thinking. They again are challenged with self-doubt, procrastination, they worry, they stress, they overthink, uh, they they say they're sacrificing when they're really settling. They say that they are
Oh,
compromising when they're really coping. They say they're doing the best they can when they're really dealing with things, right? And
killing
so getting clear on that process, right? And I've probably just named a couple million women, right? But
a couple million women.
okay, my ideal client and my clients too are clear that it's going to cost them something. And so
Right?
the focus of hiring me to support them, whether it be in a one-on-one or a group, they know that there's a level of investment. And so then we start talking about how much are you worth? Because you can't tell me that you're priceless. And this isn't me. So don't come to me looking for anything that's $97 because I'm not. You can, there are people that have that. I am transformation. I'm changing lives. And so if you are looking for something that is free or inexpensive or low cost, then I'm not your coach. And that's okay. That's okay. No judgment, right? There's
Right.
no judgment.
We
It
we
costs.
must set, you know who
Oh,
your audience
absolutely.
is, you know who your customer is, you know the woman that's ready. And it's okay to set that criteria for who you work with.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that is totally why you go in business for yourself, because you decide who you want to take on as a client.
Yeah.
Everyone is not worth your time, gifts, and talent.
Yeah, yeah. And it cost me to be here, right? Me to
Yes.
serve you, it cost me financially, it cost me mentally, it cost me spiritually. Like I had to go through that process. And so if you want to get there, it's going to cost you. And so I can help you reduce the amount of time. I'm not saying that you won't get there. I can help you reduce the amount of time that it takes you to get there if you're willing to make the investment to break it down so that you can build it back up and you can move forward.
All right. Now, that's a lot. But you said something that was interesting. At the beginning, you said at one point you only work with wives. Now, what was the
Mhm.
reason? Is that due to your own experience, or feel
Yeah.
like I have to help other people out of this?
Mhm.
I'm a wife, and others may be dealing with this. So, was it your experience that led you to work with wives first?
Yes. So, and that's a great question. So, when I first started this journey, I worked in corporate America for 13 years, and it got to the point where I was disgruntled. I was dissatisfied. I felt disconnected in my marriage. I didn't feel like this whole motherly bond with my kids. I felt completely lost and disengaged. And so, um, when I first started the journey and began to get the certification to become a relation certified. With receipts, certified relationship coach. Uh, mhm, mhm.
Certified, not internet bought, certified.
No,
Study.
no, no. I got receipts, big receipts. Okay. Um, I thought it was because I was so passionate about intimate relationships. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm a wife. And I saw how I was able to navigate through um, removing the notion that marriage is hard and not focusing on the marriage and more so focusing on me. When I changed, my marriage changed, my husband changed, right? And I didn't have to make him be who I wanted him to be. And so when I started looking at that, I'm like, so most often for people who are having challenges in their marriages, for wives, they want help with the marriage. And I'm like, well, I don't help with marriages, I help with the individual. And so when I started looking at it, I'm like, at the core of this thing, it was about me and building a relationship with me and better understanding me. That then impact how I showed up from the bedroom to the boardroom and everywhere in between. Okay. And
Okay.
so
And we must show up from the bedroom to the boardroom when you're a wife, not
and everywhere in between. Okay. Okay. And
everywhere in
everywhere
between.
in
Yes.
between. Okay. And so that's part of what check your BS is. And so there was no longer a specific focus. And then once I started being more honest with myself about my gifts and my talents and who I was called to serve, it was not just wives. Right. And
Mm,
so that's where I have had to really define what it means to be a relationship coach. Because if you are like, I'm having problems in my relationship, I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna put the relationship aside and we're still going to do the internal work and build
that,
relationship with self first.
wow, that is awesome. So I noticed that you also go to corporation.
Yes.
What type of programs do you have for business owners that are trying to build, um,
Mhm.
their businesses, and it may be challenging due to staffing and things like that? What kind of programs do you offer for our business owners?
Yes, and so you're just bringing the heat, honey. I love it.
Yes,
So
let's
I
talk
do. I work
about it.
with
We got people
organizations.
that need to
Yes.
check their
Mhm,
BS in
mhm,
business.
mhm.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So yes. Companies hire me, right? Organizations hire me to come in and do more of their non-traditional leadership training, leadership development. And so I really take the same concept of checking your BS, right? Because again, I was an employee. I was burnt out. I was overworked. I was overwhelmed. I wanted to be done with everything that was attached to the job, the pay, the people, the purpose. I didn't want anything to do with it, okay?
That's
And
a
so
good.
when I look at that, right, I'm like, I can see those things that are happening. I can see how we settle and we play small and you get into a position and it's
Mhm,
not what you desire to do. And even if you are in a position with an organization or company and it's what you want to do, how do you hold yourself back with those self-sabotaging thoughts, right? So teaching people how to advocate for themselves, teaching people how to have better communication with each other. So those same things that I teach on a what I consider a B2C, so from business to consumer type, right? My
mhm.
business to consumer or business to client, B2C, is the same thing that I teach B2B, from business to business. And so just
Okay.
being able to take this same formula of check your BS and in the beginning I was scared. I'm like, I can't go into these Fortune 500 companies talking about check your BS. And now they are searching, they are seeking me. They're like, hey, we heard about your check your BS leadership
Mhm,
development program. I do leadership cohorts where organizations um, identify leaders internally, and then I take
mhm.
them through my 4-month leadership program. We do for companies that have like ERGs, employee resource groups, and specialty groups. I do master classes with them, and then some executive coaching and leadership development for upper leadership and executive level leaders. So it's um it's fun, and that's where the kind of that energy leadership piece comes in, and it's a whole story. It's a whole process and it rolls into the check your BS, but it is phenomenal. It is life change. It's transformational and I love it.
Yes, it sounds phenomenal. And just so some of those won't think we're talking about little Lucy with a ice cream stand. Some of the companies that you have presented to. Can you tell us some of the companies you presented to
Oh,
in the
yeah.
St. Louis area? Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. So I've had the pleasure of working with Centene, Nestle Purina, uh, Sam's. Um, geez, all these companies are coming to mind. Now, look, I got them right here
Edward
on my laptop.
Jones. I just
Edward,
Edward Jones. I just wanted to name a few of the companies so people would
yes.
know the level
Oh,
of
yes.
leadership that's calling on you. You're not
Absolutely.
changing um, the little local lemonade stand. You are
Yes.
changing corporations that are
Yes.
handling our savings accounts.
Yes.
Uh,
I was gonna say
just
Microsoft, so
all
I yes, Microsoft, Hairstone State University, um,
yes, and shout out to Harris Stowe for having a
yes,
female president now.
yes, Dr.
Shout out.
Latanya Collins, no hyphen Smith, yes.
Yes.
Yes, I've worked with the local Urban League and Head Start program as well as the National Urban League, Affinia Healthcare. We just talked about them a little bit earlier. St. Louis Public Schools, outside of St. Louis. There's some organizations. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I've had the opportunity to work with my
My
local
sisters,
chapter, Gamma Omega.
AKA.
Yes, 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 honey. Because what other way is there? I don't know.
They come home strolling through the house on college break. I'm like, what are they doing with all this pink
Yes,
and
yes,
green and everybody
yes.
squealing all over the place? So,
Yes, shout
yes,
out to
but
the
also
Divine
to be
Nine. Yes,
commended for all of the community work that the organization does. So,
yes,
I mean, you are
absolutely.
just attached to
Yes,
some phenomenal women, and
yes,
just the companies that you presented at and you've helped build, and you're continue to help bring that
yes.
leadership guidance. I mean, we commend you and appreciate you because some of
Thank
us
you.
have sisters and cousins in the customer service units of those places, and for someone like you that understands the employee to go in and tell them, hey, this is how you check your BS. You know,
Yes,
you are
yes,
definitely making a impact on a level that people, you can't see that from social media. So
yes.
um, just to
Thank
put it
you.
out there, like you are definitely changing lives, and I'm excited for everything that you have coming up, and how
Thank
many more
you.
lives you change, because as you change the leadership in the community, that's better for our community as a whole. So just changing that thought process from starting with the head, the leadership teams of all of these
Yes,
organizations is just phenomenal and to be commended. I
yes.
know the
Thank you.
men are left off because we have them watching and they haven't logged off. They haven't left us yet. So let's see what we can get for you guys. Let's see.
Yes,
But we have to fix ourselves first as women. So that's what I
yes.
was focusing on. I just wanted to make sure we know what was available for us. Did I see
Yes.
some guys getting a little like anything for men? Okay, so outside of the relationship things that you may
Mhm.
do with couples,
Yes.
um, is this transferable for men? Because they feel men don't feel like they can go through the same programs and things as women.
Yeah.
To the point of if you try to go to counseling or something together, they may ask, well, is it a man there? Is it going to be a
Yeah.
man? So, what type of programs or how is this transferable for our men?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're the head, and that's very important.
Yes, yes, yes. So it's the same material, right? And so I
Okay.
have had great success with working with men. That was one of the things that I kind of hesitated when I was like, okay, I'm no longer working with couples
Mhm.
exclusively, and then kind of shifted to wives, and then now have made it more of women. They are my primary clients, and I absolutely have male clients. It's the same thing, right? Um, Oftentimes we don't give men enough credit for their desire to have help, right? This whole concept
Mhm.
of that men don't ask for help, yet men cry in the dark, and they have therapists and counselors and coaches.
Cry in the daytime. Men cry at movies. Men cry when the love scene goes bad. At least I've seen it
Yeah.
happen, but
Yeah.
they have
That
feelings just
internal
like us.
peace, right? Right. And men need resources and things as well. So check your BS again is applicable. When I go into organizations, there aren't just women, right? And so
Okay,
I'm having
right.
that connection and that opportunity to work with men as well. So it no, it's not. And I do want to say too, even although I've mentioned some of the larger organizations that I've worked with, I have worked with more small businesses, or
Mhm.
I guess,
Yeah.
and even in the nonprofit sector as well. It's it's really about how much you value your employees and their growth and their develop outside of the training for how to do the job or the position, right? Um, there have been times in the past where I have had something exclusively for entrepreneurs and business owners. There's a lot of information on there about how you can build successful businesses and how you can grow your business and all of that. Yeah, what the piece is missing is the BS that stops them from getting there, right? So how people, you mentioned hobby. Let's be clear, there's a difference between being a business owner, having a hobby, and having a a, a like a talent or a gift, right? And so you have some people that are operating out of here, out of their passion. And I'm just throwing things out there, right? Whether it's selling handmade jewelry or candles or makeup or clothing and t-shirts, and I'm just thinking of things off the dome here. Regardless, they are doing that as a hustle mentality, and a hustler is not a business owner, right? And so how do you shift from I got to do it all by myself, right? So now we got to identify the places where you have a BS, right? A belief system about trust, a belief system about you got to do it by yourself. So all of these topics that I'm talking about are transferable, whether I'm working with a large corporation, whether I'm working with a group of wives, whether I'm working with a group of women, whether I'm working with a group of entrepreneurs. It is from the bedroom to the boardroom and everywhere in between. You got to get clear on your thought action pattern, check your BS, right? So that you can choose how
Mhm.
you want to show up.
Well, thank you, Coach Shaquan, for this talk today.
You're welcome.
I mean, if you are a business owner, a single woman, a married man, Coach Shaquan definitely has a master class for you. And I want more people to get involved because
Yes.
coming from
I'm not sure. Did we lose ours? I don't know if y'all can see me. It says I'm in the show. I don't know. Hey, y'all. Are you here? Hello. I'm not sure if this is just